Alright, we are back with a second version of the one-stroke engine here. Those of you who saw the first video I put out, you'll remember it was originally a two-piston four-cylinder design, and here it's been simplified down to one piston for one cylinder. Now I did this for a couple reasons, mostly simplicity. When you got less moving parts, you got a greater chance of success. I think that's a fair thing to say in almost all engineering things for the history of all existence anyways. As you can see, it's a similar principle. I actually closed off some of the crankcase here to try and contain that air when it gets compressed on that initial inch, give us a little bit more of a compression area here in the top of the cylinder. All around, it's actually a completely different, but somehow similar. You can see one of these will be intake, one of these will be exhaust. Your air will move through here. Piston goes up, down, and fires on both sides. We got holes for spark plugs. I'll have to put some passages in here for cooling. Like I said in the previous video, this is just a high-level overview. Obviously, we're missing some details here yet, but I'm just playing around with different designs to kind of narrow it in on exactly what we might want to do here. So anyways, I'll get this thing spinning for you so you can get an idea of what we're doing here. Minecraft Al had an excellent question of what does one stroke mean? Frankly, I guess it can mean a lot of things. I don't know exactly who makes the definition of what a stroke is, but in theory, for every stroke of this piston, you are going to have one ignition, as opposed to a typical two-stroke engine where you're going to have to go up and down for one ignition. This will be compression, ignition, compression, ignition. Every single stroke, there's going to be a detonation, there's going to be power. Every stroke is a power stroke. So that'll have some advantages in itself, but it's also, there's a lot of disadvantages we're going to have to come over here. I spent hours today looking at this, just going over different things that are going to be troublesome and going to have to be addressed. So on a typical two-stroke engine, you suck air into the crankcase when that piston goes up, and then when the piston goes down, it forces it up over into the top of the piston, and then you can compress it. So it's actually like an air pump of sorts. That's something we're going to have to overcome here, and I'm playing around with some different ideas on how we might do that, and I'd be curious to see if anybody has any ideas. But essentially, you need something to push power, or to push the air from the intake across the piston, detonation, and then the exhaust to be able to push itself out in theory, but you also need it so it doesn't push the exhaust up the intake. So there's a lot of different things at play here. For those of you who haven't seen what we got going on over here on the side, this is actually a covered up version, like I was saying earlier, so you might be able to contain a little bit of oil in here. I haven't decided if I want to try to contain oil in here at all or just make this a mixed air fuel ratio. Obviously, the hippies are not going to like that, but you know, this is designed from a standpoint of being a high power, low weight engine. Just for some numbers, this is a 50 cc engine. If you take the displacement of both sides and combine it, you'll have a 50 cc's, and from top to bottom here, we're looking at 110 millimeters, which is roughly 4 inches for you freedom flyers out there. So to address the area or the issue of the pump, I'm usually one to say simple is better, and I'm still trying to come up with a simple solution to that. As of right now, the only thing I can really think of is to supercharge it, similar to like the old two-stroke Detroit diesels were, where you just force that air across it. And it's worked for a while, but I mean, obviously that's almost going to double the size of the engine, but it's not ideal. And you lose some horsepower, you lose some efficiency in the matter. So, still working to address that issue. We'll see what else we can come up with. If all else fails, there'll be a big old compressor hanging off the side of this thing. So that's that. Just wanted to give a quick update. Let me know your thoughts. I appreciate all the positivity, all the love, all the support in the comments. Love you guys. Peace.